That's new. And on top of that, I'm also a mental health coach, and I love mental health.
Right.
Because I'm a recovery of depression, 5 suicide attempts, failed suicide attempts, 4 years of antidepressants, and I just learned that life is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple.
Yeah.
How we view it and how we want to be viewed is what matters. I do it wholeheartedly.
I like that. So also quick one, maybe you can also just take us through your background. Did you see yourself in this space of mental health conversations from day one? Where did you study, that kind of thing, just for context purposes?
Actually, I didn't see myself in the mental health space. One of the things that I really, really wanted from back then, I wanted to be a businesswoman. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So my entire focus, my entire life was just based on entrepreneurship. And that's why I founded Graincell. Now, when Graincell began, I knew I'm Graincell, Graincell is me. And each and every time people would ask me, who are you? I would tell them, Mini de Mwamende Panya Viroboto. That was my identity.
Yeah.
And I won that crown with so much pride. And then fast forward, I noticed I'm going through depression. I had childhood trauma that, I had a lot of things that I didn't even know existed in me. The only thing that could present itself was self-hatred, self-sabotage, inferiority complex, suicidal thoughts, self-limiting beliefs and all that. Then the kind of environment I was putting myself in, I felt everyone was doing me a favor, being with me, talking to me, dating me, associating with me.
Like they felt sorry for you?
Yeah, I felt like, you're doing me a favor. If you hang out with me, it's just a favor. If you call me, it's just a favor. And I felt like I wasn't worthy of anyone. Fast forward to around 2016, 2017, because I was jobless at that time, it's when I realized things are bad. I couldn't sleep. I could stay awake for 2 days. I hated eating. I hated showering. So I knew there's a problem. Now, I started seeking out for counseling sessions. They were very expensive. At that time, I couldn't even afford it myself. So I was just there. Mm-hmm. I remember I went to somewhere, they said it's a church. They said they're offering free mental health therapy. I went, they did an assessment. They were like, no, you're not even out of 40. Yours is bad. You need to, they referred me somewhere else, and I had to look for money to pay for it. And at that time, I think I was in my 3rd time trying to die by suicide. And I noticed it was bad. But at that time, in as much as it was bad, I was already rejecting myself. And in that rejection, fast forward to 2019, it's when I discovered I needed help. I needed to recover.
Yeah.
So I met a very amazing someone on LinkedIn, a friend of mine. We call him Drew. He paid for my therapy. This was totally a stranger who doesn't know me. After all this, the miscarriage, the abortion, everything. So when I met him, and one of the things that stood out, I used to write my story on LinkedIn. I'm a storyteller.
Oh, interesting.
So any story I write, I write it wholeheartedly. It's the truth.
Yeah.
Most of the time, people used to think that, since I'm writing stories, maybe it's a lie, it's a fiction. I'm like, no, this is my story. This is
me. True. Yeah.
And they're like, you're not scared of telling people your story. I'm like, no. I've already been scared for a very long time. Since childhood, I've already felt like people being close to me, looking at me, talking to me, I felt like they're doing me a favor. So I don't want to be in that space anymore. I don't want people to treat me like a woye case. I want to be me. So I'm going to tell my story.
Yeah.
Then he paid for my therapy. I met a very amazing therapist. He was called Kiarie. I would tell him everything that I feel about myself, every negative thing, and this guy would laugh.
He would just listen.
He would just listen.
And you're like, why are you laughing?
Why are you laughing? I'm here seeking for help and you're laughing. And he would laugh and just tell me, I love you, Mary Ben. I continue, and I would tell him, and he was like, can you just give me a permission to call someone? I'm like, it's fine. Because anyway, I'm a pathetic case. So he would call these nurses and he would tell them, just tell them what you've said. And I would tell the nurses, and all of them, they would start laughing.
What?
And I would be like, why are you guys laughing? And they're like, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're more than enough.
Was it that you were cracking jokes? Like, were you, I don't know, what was funny?
I was telling them the way I'm ugly, the way I'm too short, the way I'm brief, the way I'm dark.
And they thought you were joking.
And they thought I was joking. And they're like, the way you are, the way you look.
Yeah.
And they helped me to see myself from a different angle.
Nice.
At the same time, I had met a mentor who was... Now, I have a therapist who's looking at my physical and emotional, and I have a mentor who is looking at my overall spiritual, emotional, physical. He's trying to show me who I am, what I'm capable of. And then I sat down and I asked myself, how many people are in this space?
Right. And
the people around them keep on spiking negative words, calling them names, telling them you're worthless. There's nothing... Literally, nothing good can come out of you. And then I looked at my situation. I couldn't afford therapy. And then I asked myself, how many people can't afford therapy? And this is not only here in Kenya.
I'm sure.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
Therapy is very expensive in the US.
Yeah.
There are people we've been counseling, and in the US is very expensive. We actually charge them peanut here.
And then it's not a one-off.
It's not a one-off.
Yeah.
You have to go there every day. So I asked myself, how many people are not able to afford therapy?
Right.
And I was like, okay. It's not like I'm going to lose anything. It's not like my name is going to change. So what are we going to do? We're going to start speaking life into them. We're going to talk about the mental health. We're going to talk about every conversation that people feel uncomfortable.
And so it was at that point when you decided to start your foundation?
Yes.
Okay, talk about that briefly.
Even before we started the foundation, I was torn in between doing the Green Cell Foundation or even Mary Ben Foundation. So when I won the first award in 2022 under Women Empowerment, that is Top 40 Under 40 Africa, it's like my whole story changed.
Yeah.
No longer people would look at me as that pest control lady. Everyone is looking at me as a women empowerment leader because I won under women empowerment. Everyone is getting to know my story in mental health. So I'm like, this is a new life, and it's something that I really enjoy.
So just for context purposes, when you say pest control, that's the kind of work you did initially.
Yes, that's what I did.
To get back on your feet.
Yes.
Okay, moving forward.
Yeah. So everyone is now referring to me differently. People are calling me. People are asking me to talk about my story, to talk about my journey. I'm sitting down with women who've gone through GBV. I'm getting to hear their story. Most of the time, people ask these women, why have you not left?
Yeah.
Why are you staying? There are those who are staying because of children, both men and women. There are those who are staying because of kids. There are those who are staying because they're not financially stable to live. There are those who they're wondering, what will the society say? What will the church do? I will be castigated out of the church. People are going to talk like this and that. I'm a public figure. What will people say? We've divorced, we've separated. So I sat down with them and I was laughing. You know, when they're talking, I told them, allow me to laugh. And they're like, why are you laughing? I'm like, I've been there. I've been on the other side of the table. But I realized this other side is much more important.
Right.
I started teaching people the concept of life. Do you understand your life? Because none of us was given a blueprint of life. All of us are trying.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you were born.
It's true.
You came to the world with nothing. You're trying to make life work.
Yeah.
We have the laws that are governing us. We have different borders that are governing us.
Yeah.
And nobody told you that, Kev, you know what? This is how you're supposed to be. You're supposed to marry at 30. You're supposed to marry at 22. You're supposed to have 6 kids, 4 kids, 3 kids. Nobody told us that.
Yeah.
Literally, there's nowhere.
Yeah.
So all the stresses we are having stress based on reality of our current life, based on what people say, people want, how it's supposed to be.
You know what? When I listen to you speak, it just gets to show you how deep-seated some of these issues that we go through are from our families, us as individuals, and even in leadership spaces, for example, in these environments that we are in, whether it's in government, organizations like this one, schools, institutions like schools or whatever. So, you know, talking about building resilient leaders through mental wellness, for starters, why do you think this conversation around mental health is almost seen as a taboo when it comes to leadership spaces? You know, it's like people never want to talk about it. You just want to look at you want to perceive your leaders as perfect, and also you as a leader, you know, you don't want to come off as quote unquote weak when you bring up this mental health conversation. Why is it seen as a taboo?
It's actually seen as a taboo, starting from us as leaders, because we believe I'm not supposed to be a weak leader. I'm not supposed to be seen as weakly. I'm not supposed to be seen sick. I'm not supposed to be seen vulnerable. I'm called to lead a whole generation or a whole organization, or a country. So everyone expects me to be at par. My mental state is supposed to be at par. I'm supposed to lead them, guide them, tell them what to do and how to do it. If people find out that, you know what, I'm having depression, they will lose trust in me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they feel like, no, you're not worthy, you're not enough.
Yeah.
If you can't lead a community, then who told you can lead this? And actually it happens because it reminds me, even in politics, you hear people say, Kev, if you're not married, then you cannot lead.
Of course, especially for women.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You cannot lead a congregation, you cannot lead a community because you're not married, you don't understand the topography and all that.
Yeah.
And people start hiding. They start hiding their mental states. They start hiding their challenges. They start hiding that, you know what, I might be getting a divorce. I might be losing myself into alcohol or drugs. I might be doing this. So they put a facade.
They put a facade. So I'm curious, in your journey as a leader as a leader in this society, of course, has there been a particular time when you realize, hey, you know what, I'm actually passionate about linking this whole leadership thing and mental wellness? And how is that going? How's that conversation going?
So far, so good.
Yeah.
I get to speak about it openly. I tell people, you know what, you only have one life to live. If you're lucky, you might get two, but you only have one life. Meaning that one life, every single day is a journey. Every single day is a story.
Yeah.
Each and every hour is a new story. Just like today, I was talking to a friend of mine. He's called Mohammed Katani, the famous guy who won the 2015 public speaking. And we were discussing something. And one of the things that stood out in our conversation, he said that, you know what, just like food, for you to enjoy food, you need salt. You can't consume salt without food. You'll feel like it's bitter.
Right.
But you have to put salt in the food to enjoy the food. That is life. And as much as we have a beautiful life, we're going to have some saltiness in that life. Meaning there are ups and downs. And we have to figure out how are we going to challenge the downs, the downtime, the uptime, how are we going to celebrate it. And when you show people as a leader that, you know what, I can break down, I can cry, I can be weak, I can call you, Kev, and ask you for help. It shows that I'm also a human being. I'm not superpower.
I agree.
And